At the start of the movie, we see Takashi inside the train. To him, everything is mundane and insignificant to stay in his memories, except for one. Every day, at the same spot and time, he would see this woman on the adjacent train going in the same direction. Takashi never expected to fall in love with her, but he did. On the last day he rides the train, he gathers the courage to find the woman, but he sees that she has boarded the other train, where he's supposed to be. Takashi accepts the fact that maybe she exists in a parallel world, and their paths are never meant to cross. In the next scene, we see Takashi talking to his friend Natsue at a restaurant named Meguro. They are waiting for Tomohiko, who's going to introduce his girlfriend to them. While waiting, Takashi explains in layman's terms the nature of his work. Takashi works at a brain research facility, and his work involves a lot of poking at brains. He explains that reality isn't experienced by the senses, but by the brain itself. For example, if he holds Natsue's hands, Natsue's sense of vision and touch will tell her that it's real. But if those same sensations are sent directly to the brain without doing the action, the brain will accommodate. It will convince the person that the hand is held, which makes it the person's conceived reality. Natsue is overwhelmed and simply laughs. Then, Tomohiko arrives, followed by his girlfriend. To Takashi's shock, the girlfriend is the same woman he's fallen in love with before. Tomohiko introduces the woman as Mayuko Tsuno. In the next scene, we see Takashi waking up from a weird dream. Later, he gets dressed for work and comes out to the kitchen, where his girlfriend is making breakfast. Takashi smiles at her and kisses her. We see that the girlfriend is Mayuko, who has been living with her boyfriend Takashi for some time. It's at this point where things become complicated in the movie's narration. So, for the sake of clarity, we will consider the timeline where Mayuko is living with Takashi as Takashi's reality, and the timeline where Mayuko is Tomohiko's girlfriend as Takashi's dreams. Takashi has another vivid dream about Tomohiko. They are both working in the same brain research facility, albeit in different groups. They are both considered brilliant by their colleagues, and the company expects great things from them. But recently, Takashi has been experiencing random dazed moments. The head of his group, Dr. Osanai, notices, but Takashi sums it up to work fatigue. In the cafeteria, he sits with his friend Tomohiko and his girlfriend Mayuko. When Mayuko gets up to get their coffee, Tomohiko expresses concern about how Takashi avoids Mayuko a lot, which makes him think he doesn't like her. But Takashi assures him that's not the case. Mayuko is working with Tomohiko's group, so they're bound to cross paths, but not make a conversation. Then, Dr. Sudo, the head of Tomohiko's group, walks past them along with Shinozaki, another member of the group. Tomohiko reveals to Takashi that he implemented the irradiation experiment on Shinozaki, and he's observing him for effects. Takashi thinks this is crossing some line, but Tomohiko is more excited about the results. In the waking world, since Takashi has been dreaming about Tomohiko recently, he asks Mayuko about him. Mayuko says that Mr. Tomohiko has been sent to the main branch of the facility in the USA. Takashi is confused because he doesn't remember this happening. In another dream, Takashi is having dinner with the couple at Meguro. There, Tomohiko explains that after the irradiation experiment, Shinozaki claims that his school teacher was a tall young woman. But in reality, his teacher was a middle-aged man. Takashi immediately understands that Shinozaki's memories must have been rewritten. This should be an interesting case. Takashi takes the oyster that Tomohiko ordered since his friend doesn't really like it. The conversation turns to how Tomohiko and Mayuko met. Tomohiko says it was she who approached first, as she was interested in his thesis back then. Mayuko then asks how Takashi and Tomohiko became friends. Tomohiko says they go back to middle school. Tomohiko used to get tormented because of his limp. Then he was shocked when Takashi, the popular guy, defended him. Because they were both interested in science, they bonded and have become friends since. A restaurant server approaches them and asks if he can take a picture of them to be posted on the restaurant's memory board. Takashi and Mayuko stand on either side of Tomohiko. Takashi sees Tomohiko put his arm around Mayuko, which makes him jealous. Takashi continues to get vivid dreams about Tomohiko and how Mayuko is Tomohiko's girlfriend. Those dreams feel more real than his reality. It gets to a point when, while Takashi is talking with a colleague, he gets a flashback of how Tomohiko introduced Mayuko to him, which led to them becoming a couple. Takashi feels this memory is wrong. At night, when Takashi tries to make love with Mayuko, he gets another flashback of just the two of them having a date at Meguro. This memory also feels wrong. Mayuko is his girlfriend, so why does Takashi feel like his memories with her don't sit right with him? Takashi gets another clear dream, where he and Mayuko visit Tomohiko in his apartment because he's sick. After the visit, Takashi walks Mayuko to the train station. He wants to ask her if she remembers him, but he can't find the chance. He makes sure to let Mayuko ride the train first before he leaves. As the door closes, Takashi sees, for a fleeting moment, a look of longing on Mayuko's face when she looks at him. That's when Takashi realizes they're both pretending not to know each other. When Takashi wakes up, he looks at his storage to find the same key he used to open Tomohiko's apartment in his dreams. Why he has it, and why the apartment looks empty when he goes to it, Takashi doesn't know. He decides to call their USA branch to confirm if indeed Tomohiko is working there. He doesn't get to talk to his friend, but he gets his email. Takashi sends him a message to test if the email is legitimate. At work, Osanai tells Takashi that Shinozaki, the guy whom Tomohiko experimented on, has quit the company for a year now. The baffling thing about this is that Takashi doesn't remember this, even though Osanai confirms he was there when it happened. In another dream, Takashi finds out that Tomohiko has made progress with his research, but his group is keeping it under wraps. Takashi asks Tomohiko about it, but Tomohiko says it's not confirmed yet. Then Tomohiko asks for advice on what he should give Mayuko for her birthday. Takashi says he has no idea. Internally, Takashi uses this information for his selfish reasons. A few days later, the company holds a symposium where different groups will present their research progress. To Takashi's disappointment, Tomohiko never reported about his own research. When he confronts Tomohiko later, Tomohiko says he has no obligation to tell him about it. That night, Takashi takes Mayuko to a restaurant to ask about Tomohiko's research. Mayuko confirms that there's been a development, but she's scared because Tomohiko is getting aggressive about it. She asks if Takashi can talk to his friend, but Takashi cuts her off. Takashi changes the topic. He gives Mayuko a gift. It's a ring, as if he's proposing to her. Mayuko firmly says she can't accept it. She gets up to leave. Takashi follows her. He dares to be transparent about what he really feels. He confesses that he's loved her ever since he saw her in the train station. He feels jealous because it was him who loved Mayuko first, and yet she's Tomohiko's girlfriend. Mayuko says she doesn't remember him, but Takashi says she's only pretending. They're both pretending to not hurt Tomohiko's feelings. But Mayuko stands her ground. She insists she doesn't remember Takashi, and that he should stop telling lies. This recent dream makes Takashi feel dazed. It all feels so real, but they don't jive with his memories. When he finally receives an email from Tomohiko, it only makes the line between his dreams and reality more blurry. In the email, Tomohiko apologizes for not telling Takashi about his sudden transfer to the USA. Tomohiko says he's doing okay there, although he's still adjusting to American life. He also says he ate oysters yesterday, which he really likes. Takashi knows immediately this is a bogus email. In his dreams, Tomohiko never liked those oysters. Takashi continues to look like he's out of it. That's why he doesn't notice Natsue approaching him. Takashi is happy to see her again since it's been 2 years since they last met, but Natsue corrects him. They met last year, she says. They met at Meguro, where his friend introduced to them his cute girlfriend. Doesn't Takashi remember that? Takashi collapses upon realizing what's happening. He takes a taxi to go to Meguro to confirm something. Even though the restaurant hasn't opened yet, he barges in and walks up to the memory board. Pinned there is the photo of the three of them, he and Mayuko standing on either side of Tomohiko, with Tomohiko's arms around Mayuko, his girlfriend. Reeling from this revelation, he comes home to confront Mayuko. He asks her who her real boyfriend is. From her face, it's clear that Mayuko knows something about this whole situation. Still, she insists that she's Takashi's boyfriend. Takashi shoves the incriminating picture on her. At this, Mayuko knows the act is over, but she looks Takashi straight in the eyes and tells him she loves him. However, Takashi has lost his sense of discernment. He doesn't know what's real anymore. He shoves all of their pictures out of the shelves, knowing these are just props to make him believe a different reality. He decides to go to the laboratory, as he remembers a vital piece of memory. The lab room is where he last saw Tomohiko. The weight of his memories is too much to handle, causing Takashi to collapse on the floor. Left in the apartment, Mayuko calls Dr. Sudo and confirms that Takashi has regained his memories. It's at this point that the mystery finally unravels, and it's more nuanced than anyone can think. The truth is, Takashi's dreams have all happened in reality. His living situation with Mayuko is also real. The question is, what is Tomohiko's relevance in all this? We pick up the story after Takashi confesses his feelings for Mayuko. Tomohiko visits Takashi to verify something. He says Mayuko is in love with Takashi, and Takashi feels the same for her. When Takashi doesn't respond, Tomohiko understands and is devastated, but he quietly accepts this truth. After this, Takashi goes to Mayuko's apartment. He again declares that he loves her. He feels miserable because he knows he's betraying his friend, but he can't stop what he feels for Mayuko. He grabs her and holds her tight while kissing her. Mayuko tries to resist, but eventually relents. She lets out those suppressed feelings ever since he saw Takashi again. They make love, and there's no turning back. Then we see Takashi getting a message for Tomohiko, inviting him to his lab room. Takashi accepts the invitation. When he enters, Takashi is surprised at seeing complicated contraptions connected to several computers. It's there that Tomohiko reveals the breakthrough in his experiment. The bottom line is that he's found a way to rewrite a person's memory and alter reality. In essence, Tomohiko can merge a person's reality with his wishes. Let's say A memories are the ones that happened in a person's reality, while B memories are the person's subconscious wishes. Through irradiation, these two can be combined to create an alternate set called C memories. This phenomenon can cause a domino effect in which all real memories fuse with hidden desires, creating an alternate reality that the person will accept as his truth. This is what really happened to Shinozaki. That's why he's confusing the facts about his schoolteacher. Since Takashi understands the basic concept of his research, Tomohiko asks him a favor. He wants Takashi to erase his memories of Mayuko. Tomohiko has decided he'll let Takashi and Mayuko be together. If his memories are erased, then he can truly be happy for them. Takashi doesn't want to do it, but Tomohiko says he shouldn't refuse. After Takashi records his hidden wishes, Tomohiko takes a memory card, hides it inside a pocket watch that contains his and Mayuko's picture, and gives it to Takashi. He asks his friend to bear the burden with him and keep it safe. His last words to Takashi: "Love Mayuko for both of them." Then he sits back on the chair and gives Takashi the password to start the irradiation process. Takashi knows this is wrong, but Tomohiko quietly pleads with him. Once Takashi presses the enter button, Tomohiko sincerely thanks him. But something goes wrong. At this point, Dr. Sudo enters the room and finds out what happened. Upon studying the data on the computer screen, he realizes Tomohiko has been put to a deep sleep. In the aftermath of the incident, Sudo informs Mayuko about what happened. He says he rewrote Takashi's memories because he's tormented by what he's done. He wants to honor Tomohiko's last wishes, so he made Takashi believe that Mayuko is his girlfriend. Sudo instructs Mayuko to live with Takashi to monitor him and take care of him. This is the real story that Takashi learns when he wakes up. He finds himself in the lab room with Dr. Sudo. Sudo asks him for the memory card that Tomohiko left before he went into a deep sleep. Sudo explains that this may contain important information that can reverse Tomohiko's situation. Understanding this, Takashi returns to his apartment. There, he finds Mayuko waiting for him. She apologizes. But Takashi says it's him who should apologize. His selfish love for Mayuko is what drove all of them into this situation. After he finds the memory card, he calls himself a weak person. Mayuko admits she was weak too. In truth, she did recognize Takashi when they were first introduced. She's already known him as the man she sees every day in the train station, and she admits she has fallen for him too. She was just scared of hurting Tomohiko. Mayuko says they should move on and forget about each other. But if there's one thing she wants Takashi to understand, it's this: they have loved each other even before they met, and that's the only truth that exists between them. She asks him to find her again. Mayuko kisses Takashi for the last time. Sometime after this incident, Tomohiko finally regains consciousness. Following this, the USA office of the research company partially suspends its operations in Japan. Despite this, Takashi seems to be doing well. He crosses the Shibuya intersection as he talks to Tomohiko over the phone about hanging out for the night. Right as the call ends, he walks past a woman wearing a yellow coat. There's no mistaking it. He's found Mayuko again. What are the odds of finding your love again in the sea of strangers?